Football fans, is there a more heartbreaking story than Bukayo Saka's penalty miss at the Euros last year? Love England or hate them? The sight of the 19-year-old in tears was enough to bring the country to a halt. He lost the final for England and received a lot of online backlash. So how has the Arsenal starlet coped since last June? Join us to find out what Saka has done throughout the last year to bounce back from the Euros 2020 final. And stick with us to the end, where you'll find out how Saka wants to redeem himself at the World Cup. So what happened? Well, if you live under a rock and missed it, England made it to the finals of the Euros in 2020. They took Italy to a penalty shootout with a 1-1 draw. Saka stepped up during sudden death, but his penalty was saved by Italian maestro Gianluigi Donnarumma. The teenage winger immediately began to cry as he lost his country the game and football didn't come home. Saka received an onslaught of racial abuse online following the game. In an Instagram post after the game, he said that he knew instantly the kind of hate he would get after the penalty was missed. A total of 11 people were arrested for the racial abuse of Saka, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho. It's nice to finally see some justice, but that was a year ago now. The dust has settled and the winger has moved on. The aftermath of the Euros. Saka was immediately showered with love upon returning to training at Arsenal after the Euros. They had installed a wall covered in positive messages sent to Saka over the summer. Fan mail, drawings, teddy bears. There was so much support for the young forward. There were notes from children and adults alike, along with flowers and little drawings, which all left the midfielder speechless. Arsenal's star boy got emotional. He stood there, taking it all in, and said, "Can I just pick it all up and take it home?" Saka has also become much closer with some of his teammates since the incident, especially with one player in particular. He struck up a stronger friendship with goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale. The shot stopper could relate with Saka when it came to online abuse. Ramsdale was relegated from the Premier League twice in consecutive seasons. He was on the receiving end of cyberbullying with both Bournemouth and Sheffield United. The English keeper helped Saka when it came to criticism and helped him see past the negative messages. Ramsdale said, "There is no doubt that he's stronger now off the pitch and on it. He's a more complete person." Saka always worked very closely with Lucy Burden, Arsenal's in-house sports psychologist. Their team aided the winger and helped him regain his confidence ahead of the 2021-22 season. And since the beginning of that campaign, a fire has been lit inside of the Arsenal attacker. Onwards and upwards. Saka had a short break after the postponed 2020 Euros. He returned to the match squad in a late pre-season friendly away to Tottenham. As he was subbed onto the pitch, he received a standing ovation from the supporters. And the crazy thing, there were no Arsenal fans allowed in the stadium that day. The applause he received was entirely from Tottenham fans. Could you imagine being clapped by your club's biggest rivals? It was a clear indication of how loved Saka was across the country. The love and affection for the young winger was so powerful that it even transcended ancient rivalries. Alongside being a stalwart for Arsenal and carrying the club on his back at times, Saka's international career really took off post-Euros. On his 20th birthday, he started his first ever World Cup qualifier. It was a game at home to Andorra. He celebrated his special day with a goal and a Man of the Match award. England won that game 4-0 as Saka played a full 90 minutes. The forward would go on to start in 3 of England's qualifiers in late 2021, and he scored at least one in all 3 of them. He bagged again in the reverse fixture against Andorra, but that wasn't as special as his goal against San Marino, where he scored England's 10th goal in a ridiculous 10-0 win. Months later, he featured heavily in England's Nations League run. Saka featured against Italy, Hungary and Germany, solidifying himself as a regular in the England squad. It was around this time that he was nominated for England Player of the Year alongside Harry Kane and Declan Rice. In September 2022, Saka officially won the award. He was the first Arsenal player to win the honour since it was introduced in 2003. The starlet said, "I did not expect it. I can't put into words how happy I am." Barely 2 years after he had made his senior debut, Saka had already made a huge impact on the national team. He also picked up his 20th cap in the same month after coming on as a sub in a 3-3 home draw with Germany. Saka's summer routine. Since the 2022 World Cup was moved to the winter, Saka had an entire summer to reset and recharge. At first, he took a well-deserved vacation in the United States, where he was courtside to see the Boston Celtics take on the Miami Heat in NBA action. But you're probably wondering, how did the winger stay match fit through his time off? Once he was back, Saka prioritised fitness. He primarily worked with his personal trainer at his family home in Hertfordshire. The £2.3 million posh pad has 6 bedrooms, a spa and walk-in wardrobes. But most importantly, it has a massive garden where Saka has installed his own mini football pitch. It was here that Saka was staying sharp over the summer, frequently posting on social media when he was training or practicing his first touch. And you can see his dedication through his Instagram page. It isn't filled with fast cars or flashy watches like most footballers. Instead, it's just photos of him playing football, whether it be for Arsenal, for England, or just in his garden. Football is his life, and he dedicated his entire summer to staying fit for the next season. And you can safely say that all of that training paid off. Running the title race. Saka has had an electric start to his Premier League season. He's featured in every single league fixture for Arsenal so far in his campaign, and he hasn't just been a passenger in those matches. In 14 domestic games, he's scored 4 goals and picked up 6 assists. He leads the Arsenal team on shot-creating actions. Saka's average of 4.86 per game puts him well within the top 15% of Big 5 league midfielders. He's also been prolific in taking shots for his side. Saka has an average of 2.89 shots per 90 minutes, showing that he's constantly trying to put numbers on the board for his side, and Arsenal are all the better for it. They currently sit top of the league, a whopping 5 points ahead of Manchester City. It's the first time Arsenal will be first on Christmas Day for 15 years. The Gunners are in the driving seat of the title race right now, and the ball seems to be in their court. Saka has played an undeniably big role in their push so far, and on the 10th of November, he was rewarded for his efforts. The forward was officially named in England's 26-man squad for the Qatar World Cup. A big chance at redemption, wouldn't you agree? And it's definitely a big show of trust from international manager Gareth Southgate. Saka's redemption. The young winger has already made himself useful to the England squad at the World Cup. At the time of recording, Saka has scored 2 goals in the tournament, but that's not enough for the young winger. If you had missed a defining penalty for your country, we know that you'd at least want the chance to put it right. Saka has made it clear in social media posts that he will happily step up again for his country if needed. He's taken them for Arsenal on frequent occasions, and he's scored every spot kick since his Wembley miss, including in big games against Chelsea, Manchester United and Liverpool. Close friend Ramsdale was asked if he thought Saka would take another penalty for the Three Lions. The keeper didn't hesitate at all in his answer. Ramsdale said, "Absolutely, he is 3 from 3 since that day. I think he has realised it was just something that happened to him, and he would not shy away from that because he is that type of person. He knows the feeling now, and hopefully next time he steps up, he can put the ball in the back of the net." Whether or not Saka has to take another penalty at the World Cup is anyone's guess, but let's hope for England fans' sake that they don't have to play another penalty shootout in Qatar.